Here's another, not one, but two thumbnail time lapse. Today, I'm making two different thumbnails, one for TCT Pig, which is a normal stick justice thumbnail, and then one for JB630, which is a very cool thumbnail. I'm excited to show you guys it. I'll talk about it later, but the first one that we're making is TCT Pigs. So it's just a normal stick justice thumbnail, so he just told me to do whatever. This is a more normal thumbnail that I make. I don't experiment much with this one, but the JB630 thumbnail, I'm very excited to show you guys because I experimented quite a bit with it actually, and it actually turned out pretty nice as well. But we're gonna start with the TCT Pig thumbnail, so stick around to see JB's. Pig asked me to do whatever might be interesting with the stick justice, so I decided to make it very simple. All I did was a cheater running away from Pig, and there's not really much else to it. Since this thumbnail is simple though, I want to talk to you guys about a few questions you had in the last video. A lot of people ask me what rig I use. It's just an older version of Nacho Engine's rig, but with a few lights and some smooth shading. So many people think I use special stuff, special rigs and that kind of thing, but I don't. I just use Nacho Engines. The main thing that separates these special rigs is mainly lighting. It's mostly lighting. Quite a few people asked me where I got the belts from in the last video. Pig sent them to me because they got them from another Axiom, but I'm not sure if they're completely public or not. So I don't know if I can send them anywhere else, and I'm not going to take any chances. In the last video, I said that my rule of thirds, the red lines you're seeing on screen right now, were wrong. They were wrong in a way. The rule of thirds uses 4 center focus points on each intersection of the horizontal and vertical lines. So you can see that their faces and their bodies are both positioned on the rule of thirds focus points, but it's not like they're locked to that. In the last thumbnail, I didn't have them on the focus points, and it's perfectly fine. The thumbnail still did fine. You should probably keep the focus points at least on the lines or inside the boxes, but it's not like you're locked doing that. It's not like the video is gonna perform bad if you don't do that. So now it's already time to render everything and put it into Photoshop. This thumbnail is much simpler, so it doesn't take nearly as long. I think this thumbnail took like 40 minutes total, but some thumbnails take a lot longer. The time it takes me to make thumbnails vary quite a lot. It can take me 30 minutes to 4 hours to make a thumbnail. I don't think I've ever done anything over 4 hours. Maybe I have actually. If I needed to make an effects heavy and very packed thumbnail, it would definitely take more than 4 hours. It would probably take multiple days of a couple hours a day. But I feel like people set like a deadline to their thumbnails. I don't see the point in that. If you need more time to perfect things on a thumbnail, do it. There's nothing stopping you. I remember my most popular videos thumbnail going through so many changes. If I can find it, I'll pull up like 3 different versions, including the finished version, but it went through so many changes over time. An extra 5 to 10 minutes on a thumbnail can make a big difference, even if it doesn't feel like it. So take the extra time you have to perfect the thumbnail and polish it as much as you can. And for this pig thumbnail, I'm just adding some final shading, and I think it's almost time for Cameron to send it over. As you can tell, this thumbnail was actually very simple. I don't do much different or experimental or anything like that in this thumbnail, so I just talked about other stuff. But this JB thumbnail that I'm about to make has a lot of experimental stuff in it, and you'll see what I mean. Now for JB630's thumbnail, we were talking back and forth about how he wanted it. The video is about playing Gorilla Tag in the oldest VR compatible. So I thought I would take a VR, make it red like a Virtual Boy, and make it look run down in a way. JB liked the idea, and he specifically asked for the VR to be the Vive, which is an old Steam headset. So I found a model and used those in Blender. I said this in the last video, but this is my second channel, so if you haven't yet, go subscribe. Another thing I want to quickly promote is my thumbnail portfolio. It's on screen or in the description. I have before and after thumbnails and normal thumbnails on there. I suggest you scroll through them if you like videos like this. Now I'm posing JB and lining him up with the rule of thirds. You can see from what I said earlier, this thumbnail instead uses the lines as focus points and not the intersections. This posing on JB is actually very unique to me. I'm not sure why I pose him like this, but I think it looks pretty cool. I tried messing around with the colors and the controllers and headset. I get the controllers to look better, but not the headset. But that's okay because I'll be changing them up entirely in Photoshop. These trees that I'm adding will be a part of the experimenting I do in this thumbnail, and you'll see what I mean later. Now I'm already rendering the images. This part is fast in Blender, but I knew that the Photoshop segment would take a lot longer because of what I wanted to do. I'm starting by adding some shadows on the ground and making the VR red. I wanted to make the VR red so that the cracks and breaks on the VR can be more visible and the VR would also stand out a lot more. So now I'm adding tiny cracks to make the VR look a little bit run down and old. Soon, I'll show you what I tried experimenting with in this thumbnail that worked out pretty well. It mainly had to do with the background. I'm now adding wires to the inside of the headset as well as a little computer chip in the middle. Adding a few more cracks to the controllers to make them look run down. And now, it's finally time to experiment with the background. My entire idea for the thumbnail was to be JB in the center with the VR on, but the background was basically where he was playing. So with the background, I wanted it to look corrupted and glitchy, so I started by cutting out parts of the trees and moving them around to give it a glitchy effect. After that, I added 2 different drop shadows in pink and yellow for more glitch effects, and this is where I actually experiment. I wanted to make the corruption effect look like desaturation, like engulfing the background, and drop shadows on the tree actually made it look really cool. It gave it this like dreamy effect in a way, and it made it look much more realistic in a way. Realistic as in more natural. I tried the same thing with the ground, but it didn't look as good. You could see I kind of flip it on and off to see if it works or not, or if it looks better. It didn't work the best for the ground, but the trees it looked really nice on. It doesn't really look like I'm doing anything, but I'm currently looking online for a warning symbol to add to the VR headset to make it look like the VR is kind of in a bad state. Now I'm adding some polish and shadow, and actually I was kind of testing it out because I used to shade with bevel and emboss and I wanted to make an example of it, but I thought it looked nice, so I kept it. Okay, so the thumbnail is basically done now, but I'm just making some finishing touches. This thumbnail ended up taking an hour and 20 minutes, and the pig thumbnail took only around 40. You can tell that the thumbnails with more effects and detail take longer, seeing that the JB thumbnail took double the time. I'm actually surprised my rank thumbnail for pig only took an hour and 20 minutes. I was expecting it to take a lot longer, but I think since I had the idea, it didn't take as long.